Tinnitus noise. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue to the second portion of this function. So here we're gonna basically loop through the URL SRV unique. We're gonna go through the size of it. That was probably the sound of a very awesome motorbike passing very close to my house. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and iterate over the size of the URL SRV unique. And then down below, we're gonna go ahead and make connections. We're gonna issue requests to the whois servers, and we're gonna see through the replies. We're gonna phrase the replies and see which domains might be available. So we need a string builder to construct a string here, and we're gonna initialize it basically to nothing. And then we use whois client and whois. This is from the lib, which we have imported. And this is how we basically just initialize it, like basically like a variable. So you have a variable which is of type whois client. That's the logic that it follows. And then you type in, not exactly a variable, but you get the idea. Then you type in whois.connect and you pass, and I am going to pass to it a list of URLs. So URL unique is going to URL SRV unique. We're going to query one string at a time from it. We see I have positions here, so we're going to query one string at a time, and each string will be a domain. So we're going to query each server which is within our list. And then we're going to go ahead and type in string whois data, so just some string, which will basically construct our whois query. And within our whois query, we're going to place an equal sign, which I've explained a moment ago. Let me just go ahead and show you. Who is, if you type in equal admin.com, this is going to look for the exact match, okay? So we're looking for the exact matches of the domains of the domains that we pass. So these are the domains which are by one different from the domain which we have originally created or issued. Anyway, and then we have res.append. So we're gonna append our string builder with the whois data, which is basically here, which is basically our query. And then we're going to go ahead and disconnect ourselves from the whois server. Okay, we got the output in the res, and now we're going to go ahead and convert res to a string called result. And down here, we're just going to use some logic to see whether result actually contains any of these strings. So this is called match. Okay. So we have a Boolean, which is test, and I'm initializing this to false. And we have match, the array list from before, and we're just going to iterate over it. So if the string result contains anything from match, go ahead and change test to true and break out of the for loop. If it does not contain, just go ahead and go through the loop, do nothing pretty much. And once we are out of the loop, this will either remain false or it will be converted to true. And if test is true, go ahead and print out. So what are we going to print out? We're going to just print out a string query server :space plus the URL SRV unique, so the URL of the server which we have queried. So just get that string, and then we're going to add a new line string. Well, we're just going to add a new line, go to the new line, then we're going to add a string domain :space, and we're going to add to that basically the domain which we have queried. And to that we're gonna add might be available, and then we're gonna go into the new line so that the next domain wouldn't get mixed up with that one. So we no longer need this for loop here. Just going to go ahead and delete it. That was pretty much it. And we're going to delete these comment lines. So as I said before, this function basically is being passed all of this as an argument, and this function is being passed all of this as an argument, and then you have candidates, which is being passed this as an argument. So one function is just using the return values of another function. And here you just specify the domain. So if you can change the domain, and it will perform the same kind of logic, the same kind of operations for your domain, or it should anyway. I have tested it out with several domains, including this one, and it works like a charm. So let's go ahead and Control S to save, and let's go ahead and run this. Okay, there you go. There is a limit on the Whois service, so please don't abuse them. They're kind enough to give these services for free, so do not abuse this. This is a tool that I've constructed. It can do that, but I would advise adding a sleep function or something like that somewhere if you're going to do large queries. Just add a sleep function so you don't basically create too many queries so that you wouldn't get banned. You can read their policy lists and regulations, how many queries are okay per a certain unit of time, and make sure that you fit into that. So don't go ahead, don't go and make like 10,000 requests for no reason. You're gonna get flagged, and not a good idea. And plus, they're providing this service for free, so please do not abuse it if they're kind enough to provide it for free. Anyway, it says here query server. Okay, so this is the server which we have queried, and we have queried it for this domain. And it says, okay, it might be available. Okay, and then we have queried this server for this domain and this server for this domain. This is all the same server. Why? Because the extension is .com, and this one is for .com. If you had some other extension, it would query some other servers or server. And it just prints out the domains that might be available. It doesn't print out the ones that might not be available, although it would just be a slight modification to the code. So if it's very difficult to demonstrate this for me now, but if, for example, this was a URL of, I don't know, some social media sites, which get billions of requests in a day, a certain amount of those requests would go towards this domain, which would be by 1 bit different from that one. So you can run checks on all sorts of URLs, but please, it's not illegal to run checks whether a certain URL is available or not. But don't create too much unnecessary traffic towards Whois servers, please. That's a personal request that I'm making. So now at the end of the day, you can ask me, well, okay, Ermin, you've shown us this code. Certainly there's a shorter version of this code in Python, and you've written it in Java for some strange reasons. What is it that we can actually do with it? Well, if you remember from the previous chapter, from the wireless section about this site cloning, what people did was get the domains which are by 1 bit different, and once they figured out which domains are by 1 bit different, they've registered those domains, and then they've copied the websites, they've placed it somewhere in the cloud, and they've gotten a lot of traffic. Because out of billions of requests, thousands are going to go towards you. And you can basically, from that point on, the possibilities are limitless. As I said, it's kind of difficult to do this demo in the real world because I don't want to be encroaching on anybody's territory or doing something illegal, but I just wanted to show you how you can do this. Although I probably will construct a domain and see if it's free from one of the bit masks, and I'm just going to bounce people with a 404 error, but I'll do some measurements and see how many people would go towards my site. Anyway, gonna bid you farewell here and hope to see you soon. I do believe that we'll do nmap, and then we're gonna go ahead and construct ourselves a USB device to basically deploy code. Anyway, bid you farewell.